Kind of just clamshells in, and then that's it. That's the board. Stop. That looks so good. That is actually pretty fly, bro. Do you guys remember the TB-65? The TB series with the cool back weight? That really interesting finish? This is like the new one. This has micro switch buttons, different mounting options, still has that really cool ripple finish. It's an interesting board, and it's gonna start at 175. I think this was one of the more interesting ones we did last year, and I really like the updates that they did to it. I think they did a really good job with this. I'm interested to see how good all the mounting options are, but they have different variants of the PCB. They got the tri-mode, wired, and hot swap. Sorry, wired solder and wired hot swap. So we'll see what this kind of all comes out to be. I don't have a price if the wireless is gonna be more money. I'm assuming it is. So just keep that in mind. It's gonna be a typing angle of 8 degrees, a 65% keyboard, and a 1000 polling rate PCB. I'm just gonna open it up because they did ship this solo plate. I don't know why. And just as a little FYI, they did not specify if we can keep this or not. If they do allow us to keep this, sounded like I farted, but I promise guys, it's just the box. That sounded wet too, that's crazy. I'm distracted now. What was I saying? Ooh, very nice case. Wow, they went all out on this. So this is Tech Bear Studios in collaboration with Win Studio, I believe, who I guess is either producing or using their fulfillment or pipeline of stuff. Dude, I absolutely love when people include things like this. I think this is the coolest thing ever. Tri-mode PCB with ooh, is this has weight. This is a copper plate. Is that even on the options? Yeah, they have copper. Oh, this is copper. Cool. You know what? I'm totally down to use this. I think copper could be fun for today. Oh, you know what? This is a cool PCB. So what do we got? This can be PCB mounted. Shoot, I really wish we got the solder one. Ooh, pogo pin? Pogo pin, and then what's this for? Is this for the, I guess, the daughter board that's does all the other buttons, I suppose? Kind of a miss there. I would have liked to see 2 pogo pin connectors. These white things are nothing. It's just part of the design. Lots of options on this too. Does that even ISO on this? Look at that, even ISO. You might have to buy an ISO plate. Very nice, good options, okay. I am Tech Bear Studios. I am happy with this so far. Let's put the manual back. And then it comes with a cable. I can't say I'll ever complain about having extra cables. Ooh, this is a nice cable too. All right, nice, very cool. So right away, I'm pretty happy with this. So here's where the keyboard gets interesting now. Finish of the board, and then it has some extra buttons. Ooh, whoa. That is a gorgeous finish on this. Ooh. So it's obviously a coated finish, but it's kind of speckled. This looks great. Let's take everything out because I kind of want to like visualize the board right now. Oh, look at that. We even have a stepped internal catch ball on the side. Interesting. So there's catch ball points over here. It's not exactly like an ano finish, but it has the smallest amount of texturing to it. The smallest. Dude, this looks sweet. And then, oh my God. I am so happy they did this. So if you guys remember the last time we covered one of these boards, they have this really cool finish, and they added part of that finish on these buttons at the top, because these are all little buttons you can press. They use micro switches. Oh man, that is, yeah, these are all buttons. You can click all of these. This is sweet, dude. I haven't even put this together yet, and I'm already sold. Is this, they even gave us stabilizers. There is a long foot on the back. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of the long foot. Would have liked 2 small feet. But look at this finish. How insane is that? So cool, dude. I remember last time I looked at this too. It really hasn't changed that much, but this is such a neat finish, bro. That is so cool. I love what they did with this. I wish I had the other one still, the TB-80. Because the TB-80, I feel like didn't even hold it. Like, it was a good looking board, but this is way nicer. Interesting side profile too. They added some flair to like what is a standard wedge. This is really pretty. All right, I'll give them that. I think they did an excellent job with this so far. No, this is way nicer than the 80. If they redid the 80 like this, it would be interesting. Yeah. So I wonder though, there's only, what, 2 catch balls on this. Is that enough to, I mean, I guess so, because this is just a little, wait a second, this isn't really a catch ball. This is way nicer than a catch ball system. Is this like a press fit? Oh, that is cool. No, here, I don't know how to better, sorry, my throat's also killing me right now. I don't know the longevity of that because like what happens if you accidentally lean on your keyboard type thing. Maybe when we put it together, it'll make more sense, but this feels, so okay, I need to go on a little tangent right now. So when Bull and I were doing the Manta design, for example, one of the reasons we didn't end up going with catch ball system or the ball catch system, it felt very violent to open. So we didn't end up going with it because it felt almost like you were destroying the board. So this feels a lot more gentle and a lot more fluid to open. I would have just maybe liked some way to lock it. However, you know what? I am not going to go too hard in criticizing this because I really like the approach they took here. If you're typing on this and accidentally like lean in, you're going to pop one of the sides off. So I can see where this can maybe go wrong. But yes, I'm with Frank on this. I'm happy they tried something new. And I think so far it looks like they did a pretty excellent job of utilizing it, but we'll see as we build the keyboard. In this day and age of keyboards, it takes a lot for me to kind of sit there and go, that's new, because we've been getting like same for basically everything. I like what they're doing here. This is so different compared to what's already on the market. It got, the prototypes got delayed, so maybe this got delayed, but it hasn't released yet. I don't think there's a finalized pricing yet. I think we're probably going to see some vendors pop up with this, but it looks like it could be anywhere between $225-ish. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it will be $175. I'm not too sure. We'll just kind of base it off of $225 to $245 info. Cool. Dude, this looks sick, man. I got to admit, like, I can't stop staring at this. This is so pretty. I'm going to use some long pull switches. They're the ones that came with the Taiga, but they're a really nice sounding long pull switch. All right, ribbon cable goes in, because I would assume it goes into this button thing here. Oh, it goes into this. Never mind, I see. And then this gets put in the bottom. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so this is just to shield this little part that makes contact with the top frame. All right, this installs really nicely. The magnet connected, this just sits in there. It doesn't have to be fiddled around with. This is a very easy install. This is kind of cool looking. The pairing of all this is cool. And this kind of just clamshells in and then that's it. That's the board. Stop. That looks so good. That is actually pretty fly, bro. I like that a lot. And then apparently these buttons on the top, it says a single switch to press the light to, this is for lighting effects. Single press to switch the light effect on the short bar. So this is for the top one. Oh, so they're independent. Oh, wow. That's pretty nice. They made this the button for wired versus wired mode. Wireless versus wired. That is actually such a good quality of life feature. All right, let's go find keycaps. We'll try some of the different mounting styles. We got lots, so we're going to go through a few. I want to do another quick retap on this because I am really enjoying this. This is a cool build, man. Okay, so we have a lot of cool things that this board has to offer so far, and I am genuinely over the moon about this. First of all, price point. It does seem like the board is in and around the $240-ish mark, $250 and lower. Again, depending on where you order from. Finish of this board is outstanding, even at the $250 price point. You know, because I would have a little bit more expectation from that. This is so good. All the finishes everywhere, including on this really cool weight, are fantastic. Even the copper plate had a good finish to it, like a good clear coat. It wasn't blotchy or liney or anything. Like, this is some seriously good anno on some of these parts. Ignore my fingerprints. The coating looks really good. The machining on the board is also very good. Everything holds up pretty nicely here. I can't complain at all. Like, you even have this small little lip, which is kind of cool in case you need to get under it, in case for some reason this like clip doesn't pop in, but you can see that clip there. which we'll talk about here in a second. Very, very nice. I like the overall design of the board. I think this looks cool. It kind of hid away all this really cool finish on the weight on the back. And then it said, yeah, that's all we got. They moved some of that cool finish here on the top. And I really appreciate that. I would have gone with all 3 buttons having the cool finish though. It seems like they only did 2 buttons and then one they kept kind of like different. Or I don't know if that's just my unit. They've really made this a bigger piece on the front. I like that a lot. And then we have a little LED over here. So the next part of the build, which I really enjoyed, the way this enclosure works is you just basically push, release, and it's open. I think that is, for me, the biggest selling point of quality of life for this board. Again, I don't think this is going to work for every type of board. I think you're going to have to be, it's going to have to be a very specific type of way you design this, and then it just locks back into place. And then you wouldn't be able to lift it up. Like, I'm putting a lot of force into trying to just get this to separate, and it's not. But that does feel really good. Misses of the board, however, the plate doesn't have all the options the PCB has. And I don't get why that was even a consideration to make the plate so limited. It's not like the plate needs to have a limitation on it. It's a pretty big miss. Some other notes, this does have 4 mounting styles, and I think all the mounting styles are fun. They look like they'd be fun. We're going to go through them all. We're only going through one right now. And then you have your on and off control for your wireless and wired right here too. Cool, right? Now, we're going to see how this sounds like. We're using the HMX Arowana switches. We can change up the spacebar as well. We'll definitely see that. Copper plate, which I think is kind of fun, with no foam, even though they did provide a crap ton of foam for this keyboard. Little sound test time. Here we go. Okay, spacebar is too bright for me right now. We're going to see if we can make that a little better. Loving the alphas. Modifiers, with the exception of the spacebar, amazing. Love these modifiers. Let me just try to change this spacebar because, again, not every switch and not every keyboard is going to work 110%. So maybe we change it to a cherry switch just to see what it sounds like, because we're pretty accustomed to cherry switches here. All right, the HMX switch, too sharp for this. The cherry switch? All right, this board sounds really good. It feels really good too, guys. Like well, so far this one mounting style feels like, is it my favorite spacebar in the world? No, but I think this is really good. Love the alphas, love the modifiers. Maybe we can play around with what mounting style we're using and kind of get a different feel out of the spacebar. Also, we're using a copper plate, so not to excuse it, but could also do something to how this sounds. Let's play around with some other mounting styles. This is nice. Guys, I don't know. I think this might be a pickup. All right, so next up on the list of trying. So I like the gasket beans. So far, because I've tried nothing else, these are my favorite. So these are just standard types of gaskets. And these just go over. Dude, this actually adds a bit more bass to it, which usually these longer gaskets do. Has all the fullness there. There's no hollowness. You can put foam in this and get a good sounding board too, 110%. This might be the daily driver for the next little bit until we give it away. All right, well, damn, okay, these are my favorite. Gasket beans come in second place now. I also think you should avoid, this is kind of a miss, this one little mounting point here. I think it's a stupid mounting point, but I would avoid putting that on. All right, so next up, mounting wise, I want to try that spring mount thing. This looks, are these actual springs or something? They are. Bruh, this is cool. All right, this keyboard just keeps, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's an actual spring. Now, I've never been a big fan of stuff like this in keyboards. I usually think these end up being a little over-engineered and kind of sound weird. These just sit like this, and then it just sits on top of that. Here, let me install a few, and then we'll go. So these go into like a little pocket. The thicker side does, and they get put inside of the case here. Yeah, I am extremely curious on how this is going to sound. I've never seen anything like this. Well, I've seen variations of this. That's cool. Ah, I can already tell I do not like this mount. Oh, you know what? Hold on. The top frame definitely added something to that. It's a little bit more refined. You guys see the movement on this? How uniform that is? Okay, I do want to remove the spacebar though. I can, well, actually I don't know if this is going to make a huge difference. Yeah, this is really punching out the top end of what this keyboard sounds like. But I will say I'm happy. 3 out of the mounting styles so far sound different. Definitely adds too much of a metallic-y noise for my tastes. This is the best feeling mount. This is actually really nice. It is extremely bouncy though. It is not a very smooth bouncy though. Like if you're pressing in on it, you can kind of feel some of those springs kind of they have some grit to them. I'm impressed. This also sounds pretty good. I think I like this second best. I prefer the full gaskets. So we got one more. The last one's pretty interesting too. It's a bottom mount. I've never had good experiences with bottom mount. Right, now how does this work? Oh, so it sits like that, but then do you put these in between? I see how this works. So I guess we have to screw all these in. So this is a bit more involved with this one. Oh boy. I'm glad I saved this one here for last. I will say this though, guys, like for me, the joy of keyboards will always be just being able to build something and having fun with the process of building it. A board like this, where I'm thoroughly enjoying the experience, I feel like this doesn't always happen. There are boards that I don't mind putting together. There are boards that kind of feel stale putting them together. But I think this is one of those boards where it nails some of the complexity with simplicity. Maybe that's just also making me starstruck here, but I think even the way the mounting installs, it's just very seamless feeling. You know, maybe case in point, it's a good thing to have a manual with a keyboard. It's all right. So this is the bottom mount now. Oddly enough, this is making the board feel a bit plasticky, or sound a bit plasticky. Listen, you guys can like this. You guys can disagree with me. I don't really like this mounting style. I think this feels too stiff for me and a bit plasticky, oddly, even though this is not plastic. Like this is a copper plate. I will say it's not resonant or anything, which is fantastic, but yeah, not my cup of tea. Have a mod sound. I preferred the other 3 by a long shot. I think the best mounting style were those springs. I might have to reinstall these today. I am liking this keyboard a butt ton. I think this is really, really good. They nailed this whole thing. So again, takeaways from this. Bottom mount, not really my thing, could be your thing. Maybe it'll sound better with foam. Maybe it'll be more of a foamy sound signature. Maybe the plastic plate with the bottom mount will sound the best. The copper, I really like all 3 mounting styles with the exception of the bottom mount. So 304, fantastic. Installation, super good. I think this board is knocking it out of the park for me. All right, so that's another problem that potentially could pop up with the bottom mount here is you're gonna need to make sure this locks in place first. Bit of a shame. I'll take this apart later and figure that out. I'm gonna do a longer review on this because I think this deserves a longer review. This is a pretty cool project. I don't know if the visual style will be for everyone, but I think even though it's a little bit more like wacky, I think it's kind of fun. Like in a good way, it's kind of wacky, you know what I mean? Bye everyone, love you guys, and good night.